And happy Friday, everybody. Hey, we are down a soul today. Dara is visiting family and friends this weekend, so She will be on automatic mode. Hopefully, we do not get her killed. But if we do, it is Zafara's fault. Then it'll be Grayson's fault. Then it'll be Harrow's fault. And then eventually
Always
it'll
my
be
fault.
my fault. So, with that, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Age of Arcanum, a Dark Sun-inspired 5e homebrew campaign. For some of you out there, yeah, I believe she's in Florida. For the weekend, I believe. Is that where she went? I think so.
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't tell any of us anything. With that, as always, anything you want to learn about us, join our Discord where we teach, learn, and play games. We currently have a game on to share with you every night of the week, with the exception of alternate Thursdays and Saturdays. If you want to be in our Alt Thursday game, it is a one-shot game that is available to our Discord members. All you have to do is join our Discord, be a member, and when the event posts up the information in detail, you hit the accept button, and there's usually 5 seats open. Then you're in a one-shot live on Twitch. Other than that, everything else you need to know about us, including our wonderful family of creators that get involved both in their own projects or with me, with the games that we run. Our Monday night, our Monday night game is Faerun Reborn, which is a 5e homebrew Forgotten Realms game. Tuesday afternoon, we have Titans Revival. Tuesday evening, we have Denizens and Their Masters, a game set in Wildmont. Wednesday night is a new theme called The Descendants. It is a 5e Cthulhu steampunk alternate history game that we just kicked off their prelude session this week, and they'll be doing a full session next week. So be sure to tune in for that. It's lots of fun, very different theme, has lots of interesting nuances to the game that aren't necessarily D&D related. Every other Thursday is our one-shot. Friday night, Age of Arcanum. And then Sunday night, The Debtor's Gambit, which is our another one of our Wildmont campaigns that we like to share. On occasion, I do pop-ups or I do world creations. Sometimes I'll chat and interview and talk to some of the players. Sometimes I'll just get online and chat and build and just kind of hang out and say hi to everybody. However, before we recap and get started tonight, Dan, talk to us about your projects, your many 25 million projects that you have going on.
Oh boy. Well, we have a couple of those. I'll leave one of them for Shannon to talk about. But the first of them is a little stream I like to call the Uncanny Prose. That's prose with an E at the end. We meet up together every Tuesday for different events. This next week, we will be airing the finale of my ongoing game, Twilight's Dawn, which just wrapped up its big climactic fight, and will hopefully see the characters reach satisfying conclusions, or horrifying, terrible, awful ones potentially.
Not everything is milk and cookies.
We have another full ongoing campaign, Heroes of the Realm, that takes over, coming back full time in the next few weeks here as we get our regular DM back. And that one's been going on for over a year now as we go through Gooey Cubes, The Darkest Dream. Great third-party content there. If you're looking for a cool campaign to run, very cool people as well. And we also do Uncanny Creations, which is cosplay content and tutorials and such. Great to look into for someone aspiring to go to cons, start checking out what that lifestyle is all about. Yeah, come on by. We'd love to see you. We've gotten some new subscribers recently and stuff, and it really feels like the community is very engaged, if small, and we'd love to see you there.
Thank you, sir. Shannon, some of your fun stuff you got going on.
Hey y'all, it's me. I got things that are going on and stuff. Somebody was just actually asking me about how many games that I have right now, and I said 7, and they're like,
Yeah,
that's a
I only
problem.
know I only know of one person that probably has you beat.
Do you?
Well, so I was doing the math
Mm.
because technically I still have I still have a Sunday game that was supposed to wrap up, but things just kind of, we'd been playing for over 2 years. And all my 2 year campaigns have wrapped, and with the exception of this last one. So I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, alternate Thursday, so I'll count that as a fourth, Friday, and then Sunday. But I have 2 pay to play games on Saturday. So that takes me to the grand total of 8.
That's many. That is many. Anyway, well, I have on the horizon 2 possible other games, but anyway, I digress.
Holy crap,
So,
you're a one upper. You're one of those.
yeah. Speaking of games that I play in and do stuff for, Pico del Diablo. That is a Mage the Ascension 5th edition podcast. It's an actual play podcast. If you like people playing role play games and doing cool voices and definitely nothing tragic ever happening to them ever.
That's such a
You'll
fucking
enjoy
lie.
Pico
I
del
couldn't even keep a
Diablo.
straight face
No,
on that
of
one.
course not. Mostly because already tragic things have happened in the content that is out in the world.
Yeah, like the
They have a
failure to
mature
open
tag.
up a
Yep.
porno store made me very disappointed.
Yep. Well, keep going. You'll see. It gets there. I promise. That is available basically anywhere you can find podcasts, your local podcast shops, the Alchemist shop next door podcast shop, I am hoping to put out the next episode very soon. My weekends for editing have been completely consumed by the aforementioned million games.
Coolsies and Ivar, your little side project, which some of the artwork is up above in the Cinder window when it pans on through. I've got Ivar's art in there. I've got a couple other people that have contributed art as well. Kind of give you a brief kind of understanding of the world that we're trying to exist in. But go ahead and tell us about your projects.
Doing my artwork and putting it on Redbubble under Darkwind Designs. Some of the things, if you use a quip or you have a cool saying like "death is just a cold hug," it might end up illustrated and on my page. But yeah, you can go check it out at Redbubble.
Very cool. Very cool. So, you guys had, I believe, finally finished up a pretty important milestone and got to level up last time. However, where we had last left off, no longer in the nomadic community of Espis, as a slaver death squad had descended upon Espis, forcing you to flee via Safara's adopted mother's magical device that she had found. It was a dangerous trip, to say the least, but staying seemed to be even more dangerous. This, unfortunately, was uncontrolled and cast you deep into the worm wastes, way off course, way out in the middle of nowhere. On top of that, you were ejected into a major sandstorm that was now tearing across this particular region of the deep wastes. Once here, Haro had managed to establish a tower, get some shelter, some safety. However, doesn't necessarily mean that the hungry worms that were kind of swimming about were not, maybe aware of you. However, making it through the evening and waking up or not waking up, it's always hard to tell since the days are very long and the nights are very short. But after all of you having a long rest, you made your way out of the tower to kind of take a look at where you had ended up. Somewhere off into the distance horizon, the exposed rock and ruin of something could be seen. Also, the sand and rock-like area that you are currently in, well, a creature was seen. A rather large snail-like creature, maybe 50 to 80 feet in length, massive, rocky kind of carapace that makes up its shell. And I believe it was... Who spoke and dealt with it? Was it you, Harrow, that spoke with it?
Zephora.
I've had a moment with it, but it was
Yeah.
mostly
Zephora, yeah. So Zephora, you managed to...
And Gray was very excited.
Yeah, and you managed to establish communication with it. It seems to be a very simple beast, neither malicious nor particularly interested in helping either, but it seemed to agree to allow the four of you to find purchase on its backside and potentially use it as a way to navigate through these section of wastes. The creature then began to turn and offer up a particular side of its form to allow you to crawl on top of its back and into the kind of like rock hardscape that makes up its back and shell. Here you found what looked to be the remains of a campsite. At least 4 or 5 humanoid kind of like figures, the detritus that would make up a campsite, almost all the artifacts you could imagine that would make up a campsite. Interestingly enough, well, perhaps previous riders or individuals that maybe were just, snagged by circumstance. Looking off into the deep south, the acid rain that is gradually coming in this direction, the huge storm with its greenish and very necrotic-like looking hue out there in the distance. To the northeast, the horizon of rocks and possibly ruined buildings, no more than maybe 2 to 3 miles in that direction. All around you, the vast, putrid wastes of rock, sand, the remains of previous acid rains could be seen here as well. The landscape is blighted and destroyed all about you. What would you guys like to do?
Ride the snail. Ride the snail.
Ride the snail.
Dara's like, I gotta get me some of this. And she kind of like instantly hops up and jumps onto the back side of the snail and begins to kind of kick around the campsite and look at the remains that are there.
Are we really going to try and do this?
Well, it's that, or we wander around in the sand until we're disintegrated by the acid rain.
I'm thinking.
Well, you're on top of it, Haro, not inside of it. So think of it as a plus.
Do you think there's an area flat enough to summon a tower on top of it?
Well, let's go up and see. I put my hands like this to give you a little boost up there.
I'm like twice your height.
Well, then you boost me up.
Giggity.
Okay. All right.
I will do so and then scramble my way up.
Okay.
Probably stumbling.
Okay. The creature's already slightly moving in no particular direction. Seems to be just like heading into these bracken-like waste fringes and kind of just moving. And every now and then you watch as its front mollusk-like tentacles plop up like a gathering of fungus and lichen and kind of eats it. And then a separate tentacle kind of slurps through the salty sand, and suddenly there's a blast of salt that gets ejected as it consumes and separates the minerals from the sand. Zephora, Gray, are you getting on by chance, or have you already scrambled on? Yeah, you've already gotten on there. So all four of you are now like on the back of this thing. It's moving very slowly, but it's moving. You can feel it kind of undulate and then stop and then undulate and stop. Dara seems to be just examining the campsite. Zephora's voice kind of pops into your head. Where are we going?
Where would you like to go? Because it's kind of asking which way. I see those ruins over there. Yes. Oh. Are you raising your hand, Gray, or testing
I
the
was doing the
wind?
thing, where you like your
Oh,
hand
got
and
you.
do this.
All right.
And what have you determined?
I do like a full spin, and then I go back to the directions that the ruins are. That way.
I do look at those ruins, trying to see if my understanding of the area and history gives me any context clues.
Give me a survival check. Because the last time you were trying to figure out where you were, you did figure out, based on the limited maps and understanding of where you are. But, well, give me a survival check. We'll see how much more you can glean from your histories.
That is a 15.
Yeah, I mean, the wastes are rumor and myth when it comes to ruins, primarily because the massive sandstorms that they have here shift and move great volumes of sand on a daily basis. This one does not look familiar to you at all, but you don't have a whole lot of background in the worm wastes. However, looking at the landscape, the amount of acidity and acid pools kind of mixed in with the bracken of the rock and the sand, this area probably sees a lot of the acid storms as well. So it's probably not a very well traveled area. There are very few creatures that you can see kind of meandering about. Every now and then a small pod of raptors shifting and heading back in a southern direction. The vegetation here is very simple, very very much succulent based, cactus, and the bare rudimentary requirements of what's already considered a wasteland of existence. But the fungus and lichen are very numerous, and as you watch the snail come closer into a much more rocky like area, you begin to realize once again the landscape is slightly shifting, but other than that the ruins just don't look that familiar.
Now, how impressive do they look from here?
From
Is this
here,
the sort of...
yeah, from here, I mean they're at least 2 to 3 miles away.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Which the only piece of that which was said in the last session that Dara had said, and I'll even say that Dara kind of stands there with her massive arms crossed, looking off in the direction. She's like, hard to believe that we're 3 miles away and you can see them so clearly. They must be huge.
Yes. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I've been to plenty out here.
Oh, Haro, you're so gloomy.
There's just a lot of empty, picked clean, already rummaged through.
Gray has her hand up.
There. Yes?
Did Jason, did you say there was fungus among us?
There's definitely lots of fungus among us.
I'll go get some fungus.
Go ahead and give me a investigation check.
I thought you were going to say con save. I was going to say firm but fair.
Immediate death.
Harrow, wouldn't you like ruins? Because isn't that where you find all those artifacts?
It is, or was. I've really only ever found a handful that were worth my time.
And there's really nowhere else to go that I can see. Perhaps we could at least go there and figure out what we're going to do next.
wise. Though, keep your wits about you, and we can't spend too long. The way that the storms go, we could be buried again by nightfall.
Very well.
And the ancients, they do love to set their traps.
I'm
And
sure
yeah.
there's no traps in these mushrooms, though. That's fine. I got a 17.
17. There's a series of different ones that you can see. There are some growing off the back of the snail creature. You can see as the creature is making its way deeper into this landscape, they're now beginning to grow in large patches. Some mushrooms are bigger than others. Many are colorful. It's also at this point you begin to notice crystal structures growing out of the rock as well. And just to give you guys a little bit of a idea, this is kind of what the entirety of the landscape. It's the wrong one. One sec. Getting to that point where I've got too many things going.
I want to walk in there.
So this
Make
is
sure
pretty
they
much what the
see it.
landscape looks like for the most part. Series of shifting sands, crystalline structures. At some point, you can even see as you can see fungus-like patches, lichen-like patches growing. You can see. You can also see where the bracken water waste is. And that in itself is kind of unusual because, water's a rare commodity out here, but this environment and everything that you can see is definitely different. But at the same time, Gray, as you examine some of these fungi and lichen, some of them are giving off weird kind of effervescent properties. Some are giving off like shimmering properties. Every now and then one will poof and like spores will kind of splash outward. You pluck one of the bigger mushrooms off of the back of the snail. This one is a particular rare form of nightshade mushroom that you happen to know is something that is both used for sleeping inducement as well as poison inducement, depending on the variety and the form and the ability to process it. For you, it's almost like a smorgasbord of opportunity looking out at this vast land around you. There are a lot of opportunities here, but you also watch as a geyser of noxious fume kind of bursts out. And as it rains down, you watch as the acidity from the geyser just begins to melt and destroy everything around it. The very landscape is quite dangerous.
Psh, poison geyser. That's fine. I've been poisoned like so many times that it's definitely fine. I look for Dan. I look for as many mushrooms as I can carry until one of my friends rips me away.
Okay. So you're doing it around the landscape or from the back of the
Around the landscape. I absolutely jumped off of Harold because I know that I can keep up with him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean he's not moving that fast. I mean it's basically moving at a walking pace for you guys, but it's nice to know that maybe while you're sleeping, it could still keep moving. You begin to move about and examine. Give me another investigation along with a nature check.
I will tell it to go toward the ruins, point in that direction, whatever it understands.
Okay. Okay.
Investigation 17.
Seven.
Nature natty 1.
You managed to collect about, over the course of the next 30 minutes, you collect about 30 random mushrooms. You're pretty much, with the exception of the giant nightshade mushroom that you snatched up, you're not even sure what the other ones are. You collected an assortment.
You can bet I'm gonna pretend like I do.
Yep. You collect like an assortment of purple, reds, yellows, greens, spotted ones, ones that have like veins or like spores that kind of pop out of them. You manage to collect quite a variety.
Okay, nope. I'm gonna
See, there it is.
I'm
Death
gonna
is just a
pull
cold
that-
hug.
pull that question
There
back
it is.
because I know exactly what I'm about to do.
Okay.
She takes a bite out of each mushroom. No.
I was going to feed some of them to Philip to see if he wanted any, but then I was like, I'm gonna kill my spider.
With that, all of you can feel the shift of the creature kind of shifting in the direction of the ruins. Harrow, you hear Dara's voice. Harrow, Zephora, would you come and look at this, please?
What is it now, Dara?
She's standing amongst the campsite on the back of this creature. There are 5 humanoid creature remains here, mostly fossilized and crystallized skeletons, various sizes and shapes. The remains of most of the site seems to be very much in a decayed state, overgrown with both the rock-like shell of the creature, as well as some of the local fauna or flora of this area. You watch as like a puff of glass flies kind of take off from some of the bones that they have clearly burrowed into. She points, and in the main campsite is a large iron box that's very rusted, pitted with acid marks. Looks like it's seeing quite the wear. Otherwise, most of their equipment is either rotted or fetid, and it seems to be the only thing of interest that Dara's been able to find, because I only rolled a 15 for her investigation.
What do you think?
I will check it for any type of traps.
Give me investigation.
A 12.
It looks fine. I mean, it looks like a lock built into the iron box. Looks rather simple, something a key would go into and unlock. You stare inside, you could see a series of tumblers. Other than that, it seems fine.
Well, let's not make this too hard. I'll check those bodies and see if I find a key.
Hey, Gajo Loco, thank you for the follow. Very appreciative. What'd you get on your previous? Well, give me investigation for the site. Now you're gonna start rummaging through the site itself.
26.
After a while of kind of like pulling and shifting things apart and kind of moving some of the skeletals that just kind of fracture underneath your hands, very brittle to the touch, you do not find any sign of a key at all.
Okay. Then I will attempt to pick the lock.
Oh, this should be interesting. What? Did I say that out loud?
So that'll be a 24. On my sleight of hand.
Yeah. As you begin to use your tools to...
Here it goes. What horrible thing happens to me?
Well, actually, you notice a couple things.
Okay.
There are the remains of some Cyrillic writing that you suspect might have meant this was glyphed at one point, but it's faded over time. You also do find a hidden kind of like piece of rusted metal that at some point might have been very sharp and meant to do damage, but it's very much deteriorated and fallen apart. And you find yourself digging into the tumblers. They come apart, and then there's almost like a clicking sound as the lid kind of rises slightly. The metal kind of rusted lid popping and then jamming slightly, as it's obviously been sealed for a very long time.
Okay. I will get to the side. I won't stand directly in front of it, and I'll use my short sword to get in between the lid and the body of the chest and pry it the rest of the way open.
Okay. As you kind of, well, go ahead and give me athletics.
The worst thing ever. Maybe I should have Dara do this. Someone with some musculature. Oh, not too bad. 16.
You manage to pry it, and it pops. The lid kind of shifting off to the side. The hinge snaps as the brittle iron is definitely come undone. Looking at the box itself, the interior of the box seems to be filled with lots of ashen and flakes of almost like weird detritus of like vellum that's decayed over time. It's almost kind of turned into a mixture of ash and sludge at the same time. However, kind of sifting around, you find a single steel map case that's inside the box. But everything else seems to have just not weathered time very well. This seems to be the only thing that's survived.
Does it have any glyphs or anything on it?
Give me a perception check.
Oh, that's not bad. Perception 10. I got a 29.
Okay. Harrow, you can hear Gray out there. They're just in Candyland. They are just plucking up mushrooms, lichen. You're watching as Zephora's kind of doing her thing. You watch as she pulls out this map case, and your eyes get a little wide for a second as there is a insignia on the side of the map case. And the insignia is one of both Inderfen and Sinfoneus side by side, with a blazing sun and a cool moon held up between their hands. And scrawled in Arafenian Common is Temple of the Twins. And then Zephora, and I'll say Zephora kind of picks up on it as well.
I have a feeling that this ruin might be of some special religious significance. This may be more promising than I'd hoped. Arrow's suddenly got like a bit more like enthusiasm
Animated
to his body
enthusiasm.
language. Like,
See, what did I
holy
tell
shit,
you? We
man.
haven't even gotten there yet. And look at you. You're already happier.
Gray, give me a strength save, please.
Tight. Cool. I'm sure my massive bonus will save this roll. Tight. Cool. It's gonna be a 5.
Okay. So, Zafar and Harrow, you're examining this. Hey, Chav.
Yeah. Any kind of ruins on it?
Other than
That's
the
gonna
impression and the
warm me
Arafenian
up.
comment on the side of it, the two of you don't notice any other runic natures in regarding it. It does seem to have a kind of screw cap on the end of it.
I'll unscrew it and open it.
You open it, and a large sheet of vellum plops out.
Would you like to do the honors, Haro?
Well, I mean, if you don't mind.
Be my guest. Boom! No.
My face!
My face, it's melting.
Well, before I was hiding it, now I don't have one. I suppose this works.
I looked
I was
into
gonna
the
say, I
ark.
don't know if we know any difference.
Yeah, just
So-
burns your mask off.
So who's unfolding the vellum?
That's me. Now I'm worried that it's real.
Who's next to you?
There's always that.
The blast radius is what? Look it up again, Jason.
Am I in the kill zone?
With that, you unfurl a rather large map. There are a series of Arafenian writings and notes on the map. There's one that points to the Temple of the Twins. There's one that points to an ancient library. There's one that points to an ancient graveyard. It would appear that this is just simply a map of a very large ruined city. And also amongst the writings, there is a city name kind of emblazoned on it in Arafenian script of some sort, called Manga. Mangna. Manga.
All right.
Well,
What's it say?
I will turn it around to present it.
And
So
it-
that
And as
the
you do
man
that,
can see.
you hear Dara, "Hey, where's Gray? Where'd they go?"
They're collecting mushrooms.
No, I don't see them. They're not.
What? Gray!
Where'd we see them
something-
last?
All of you the two of you give me perception checks. I'll roll for Dara.
Gray, there's something that isn't a total waste of time over here.
My God, is it you?
Perception. We got a dirty 20.
Perception. Disgrace. That's 6.
What'd you get, Zafara?
A dirty 20.
30-20. Looking past where Dara's looking off in the horizon and where Harrow's kind of looking about, you can see a slight shift and change in some of the surface that you remember where Gray was at. They were in that area picking up mushrooms or harvesting them or doing something, but looking where they were now, they're not there. But there's a disturbance in the ground itself.
Okay. Do you have any rope? Looking in my
Look in my
inventory.
things real quick. Yeah, actually, I do have 50 feet of hempen rope.
I will tie that rope to me, and I will run over there, and I just tell you, hold on tight, so I don't, in case there's some type of quicksand or something. And I'm going to go down to where it was, where we last saw them, or where the disturbance was.
Okay.
To make it so that we're not relying on my puny arms alone, I will take 6 quick seconds to summon up a shadow spawn to hold with me.
Okay. Dara's coming over to help you as well as she begins to sprint alongside Zephora. All of you arriving at equal time to look at this rock and gravel kind of like undulation of movement. You watch as it kind of boils up and over. A huge eye kind of opens and then closes, and you watch as it just kind of burrows a little bit deeper. Gray, you're not sure how this happened, but you're inside of something. I mean, yeah, you're inside of something. You're not really
That's
entirely
the worst
sure
place to be.
what this thing
Debatable.
is. You
Let's see what those spaces
you
are.
can feel the rock and pressure of something kind of just holding you in place. You definitely feel restrained. And now you begin to feel it kind of twist, turn, move over, and then you feel it kind of go a little bit deeper into the ground.
Okay, and I am restrained. Can I still cast?
Yeah, I'm okay with you attempting to cast.
Huh. Okay. I seem to be in something's stomach or nearby its stomach. I don't think I'm in its stomach because I haven't like started melting yet.
Assuming it has
Okay.
one.
That's true. That's fair. I should maybe not continue to have a really long conversation with myself, and I should instead ask it to kindly make a charisma save.
Is that the secret
Yes.
somatic component?
That is a dirty 7.
Wonderful. From within this worm thing, I'm gonna use my new bag of tricks and banish it.
As you banish it, you are left behind in solid rock. Give me a
Love it.
give me a Constitution save, please.
Well, it's not like I could see what was going on, so this
Oh,
is
boy,
the
that's
best
horrible.
this could have possibly worked out.
This is horrifying.
Wait, hang on. I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Was it... And I'm making the save. Don't you worry about that. Was it burrowing through stuff? Would there be a tunnel? Question mark?
I mean, from the inside, without being able to see outside, your mind would assume that's what it was doing.
Yeah, that is what my mind would assume. Con save. That's not bad. 16.
16. Take 26 points of force damage halved as you are now frozen in the rock.
Is
You
26 the half?
no, 13 would be the half.
I don't know that I would even think to look to try and break open a rock for you.
For the three of you up above, after that, you can see the change in the gravel and the surface. It goes solid. Give me another con save, Gray, to maintain concentration.
Natural 1. Hello, worm.
Ah,
Suddenly, you guys watch as the surface goes solid and then back to
Best
almost.
use of my first 4th level spell ever.
this is actually much better for you. I'd let it stay.
And then you, as you're inside of the creature again, it's moving, but it stops moving. It's like swirling in place, like confused what's happened to it. It moves, and then you begin to kind of piece the puzzle together. You get the feeling that it's displacing through either magical means or some other metamorphosis of displacing the physical nature around it rather than actually burrow through it.
All right, well, for my
do I
next trick, I'll
oh.
just take the dagger and start...
Go ahead and give me Go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry, Greg. Go ahead and give me an attack roll just so I have the number. Zephora, Hera, and Dara, you could just see that it's back to like a liquefied kind of reaction. But it's a little bit more narrow, like it's gone a little bit deeper.
See, is it within 30 feet?
Give me a nature check.
I only rolled a 10.
Hard to tell.
I'll just run it for shits and gigs. I will cast Animal Friendship with a Wisdom save. So if it has an intelligence of 4 higher, if it has an 4 or higher, the spell fail.
Spell fails.
It fails?
It does.
Okay, let me cast that spell then.
What'd you get, Gray?
This die,
Alright,
natural 1, natural 1,
And
natural
I'm
20.
spent.
Oh, did you get... Wait, which dagger did you use?
The dagger.
Oh,
Jason.
Jesus Christ. as you plunge the dagger
happen.
into the form on the inside of it, it immediately ejects you. You're spat out. For those of you on the surface, you watch as the half form of Gray, they are now, and then you watch as the surface of the ground around them just reforms and is now compressing their chest and waist and stomach area as their upper body is kind of like stuck in the rock. And then you just watch as a trail of whatever that creature was takes off in the other direction.
Ow.
Give me another con save to resist the force damage.
Okay.
19.
19. So take half of 31 points of force damage. So 15 points.
Hey, if you were me, I would be in death saving throws after those 2 rounds. Not
Yeah,
after
we still have more than a hero left.
All right.
I love it when Shannon says it that way. It's so funny.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So wait, up on the surface, are we looking at Gray?
Mhm.
Or is Gray like still in the midst of the rock?
Both.
So
You're
half
looking
of
at
her,
her,
like her bottom half.
yeah, you're looking at their upper form. The bottom form is completely locked into the rocky surface.
Shadow, tear at the ground. Help them out.
Dar's just like kicking at the ground around him, and Dar's like,
I'm gonna try to dig.
it's solid rock.
That's cool. Hey guys. What I ate last night doesn't seem to sit very well with me. Also, this hurts a lot.
Help them, everyone. I don't feel particularly useful in this.
I take.
Oh, wait. Before you waste anything, one moment, please. I'll remember who this person is that I'm playing. Yeah. Misty step out.
And when you do, they're no longer there, and they kind of land right beside you. There's a perfect kind of like cavity of a lower body of Gray where they Misty stepped out of. And you just watch as the rock just kind of collapses in on itself.
Okay.
Gray, what happened?
So you see mushrooms. I'm really starting to feel like maybe mushrooms lead me on a bad path occasionally. You know what I'm saying? No, there's a worm, and it was like, meh, and I don't really know how it got there. It just kind of happened. So then we went down there, and it's no big boy. And then we went down there, and then I banished him to another plane of existence, as you do on a typical Tuesday morning. And then I got crushed by a bunch of rocks, and then he came back, and I was in his stomach again. And then I stabbed him really hard with this dagger, and that was pretty cool. And now I'm up here again.
Important note: never get off the snail.
Meanwhile, the snail's still kind of trundling along without you guys, but not very fast.
Well, let's go catch up and get back on our snail.
You're all right, Gray?
I think I might get what you meant a little bit about being inside something.
It's uncomfortable.
Deeply.
Yes, I don't like it at all. Come on, and the shadow will give us a boost up. Used some of my most powerful magic, and now we're stuck with you for an hour.
The shadow. Oh, the shadow. Right, got it.
Yeah, there's a shadow sponge.
It's holding a sign, twirling a sign with an arrow pointing towards the snail.
and it'll give anyone who wants a leg up.
Okay.
All four of
Get
you
back
find
on.
all four of you find your way back on to the snail creature that's now Zephora, there's a kind of mental connection with you. Watch out for the pit rocks.
Oh, the pit rocks.
Yeah, they leave me alone. I think they like to eat things like you.
Well, thank you for the information. Is there anything else out here we might need to know about?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
All right. All right. So we have a map to a city. I would imagine it's the ruins we see on the horizon there.
I start trying to match up any obvious landmarks. Like, I start, like, looking at the map of the city and start trying to, like, see if it corresponds to anything out there.
Give me survival check. With assistance, 'cause I would imagine Zephora is right there as well.
What will assistance give me?
Advantage, sorry, advantage.
Oh, good. Good. Much better. 17.
17. Looking at the map, there's at least 2 or 3 referenced large structures on the map. Looking out at the horizon, there's at least 2 or 3 visible large stone-like structures that seem to kind of match the overall description of the map.
This may actually be something. There may actually be something of import here. Of course, it's entirely possible that slavers or someone else has already gotten their hands on it, but who knows? It may have been dusted over for aeons until that terrible storm last night.
Point of order, there is already something of import here. And I point at Harold.
I meant over there. Harold isn't over there.
Well, he's going to be.
So you're saying it's going to be important then?
Is there an area that you
Fine.
found?
Yes.
Harold, is there a place you can cast your house spell?
Is there a place where I can cast my tower? Like, is there a flat, strong portion of the snail?
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
I think I'm good at that. Yes, +5. +5. Right, that's a 12.
The surface of this creature does not lend it to very conducive flat spacing. It's mostly curved, concaved, depressed-like features, rock protrusions. It's almost as if it gathers up bits and bobs of the environment and they attach to it and encrust to it with almost like hermit crab-like intensity. For the most part, there's no flat space here.
Okay. Now, this is getting into some weird rule stuff, and you can tell me, like, if this is going too far, but would it be possible to mold my tower onto the shape that exists?
How so?
Like, instead of designing it to be a flat surface upon which it would rest, can I instead just make it so that it fits the grooves?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Good.
We're still a ways out of the
All of you make nature's checks and see how far out you are.
Ooh.
You know nothing.
22.
Okay.
I got a 9.
Yeah, one would think I would be better at this, but also a 9.
Yeah. Harold, looking out the horizon, the other three seem very much confused as to what to do. You kind of have a plan for the tower, and looking at the pace that the snail's moving, which is a walking pace, I mean, you'll probably... Snail's pace. I was going to let you do that, Shannon, because you're so much better at it than I am. You're looking at about a 4-hour journey, roughly.
Let's see, 4 hours. Is that worth a 3rd level spell for us to roll in comfort? Because I've already used 1 3rd level today, and my shadow spawn will be gone before it does anything important.
Well,
And it is starting to finally get dark. And
as long as it doesn't rain, I think it would be okay.
the storm itself, and with the same nature check, the storm itself is well off to the south, gradually moving towards your direction as it takes up the entire landscape of the horizon. That's maybe a solid day away. It's kind of slowly just kind of percolating and, emulating outward, but it's very far to the south. There's not very much wind, so it's probably not a very fast-moving acid storm. With this 4-hour journey to the ruins, it's now maybe an hour or so till nightfall, because you guys originally took the long rest in the tower after escaping Espis and the death squad. That, I believe, was mid-morning when you had finally done that, either mid-morning or late morning. And with it shifting from the time of dark to the time of light, because it's almost springtime again, the days are getting longer, and night normally isn't very long anyways. So right now, night lasts about 5 or 6 hours, whereas the rest of the time it's a period of light. But it's getting near what you would call the end of the day.
I think that I may have an option for us when we get there. Especially if, off in the distance, I can... if we continue to get closer, if we're worried about it getting buried in another sandstorm, if we can find a tall structure, if it's, ruinous, if it's big, thick, super dense stone structures and stuff that can support quite a load of weight, I could upcast my tower to a 4th level, making it a 3-story building with a hatch on the top that we could crawl out of if the rest gets buried. That's just a thought. But yes, I'm good to continue on for now.
What? I think I lost the thread of what you're saying.
So when we get to the ruins, if we could find a sturdy spot to cast it that's elevated, and we're worried about that oncoming storm coming and burying the ruins, and us not having a good place to ride it out, we could put our tower, if I upcast it using a 4th level slot, I make it a 3-tier tower and put it on top of things, so with a hatch on top, so that we almost certainly don't get buried in.
Sounds like a great idea to me.
Okay.
But can't you also just teleport too? Aren't you a very strong, powerful mage?
I'm a very strong, powerful mage without the ability to teleport. No, actually I have Dimension
Ironic.
Door, I think. I have, No, do I not have that? No, I don't have that.
Fool.
Hey, I've got
I have Dimension Door, just kidding.
Hey, I've got a tower, okay? This is the trade-off. And
Well,
I just took...
You see, you have the tower, but Harold just has that on his back.
Harold is a tower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got Misty Step. I do have Misty Step.
That's a good one.
So if we can see out of the tower, I can go 30 feet higher.
Or you could just teleport 30 feet up and fall down to the ground, and that would be
I
fun.
think I have to see, don't it? Anyway, continue.
So for the next 4 hours, as the last bit of light drifts into the short nightfall, it'll be daylight again in about 5 hours. But everybody go ahead and give me perception checks for this leg of the journey into the ruins.
Got nothing.
24.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Harrow and Gray are just kind of staring off and trying to imagine that either a large worm will eat them immediately, or whatever ate Gray is definitely going to eat them for sure.
We're
Zephora,
obviously sitting there arguing about Missy Seven.
Why didn't you take Dimension Door, you fool?
Zephora, you watch as a very large waste worm kind of like moves up over the surface off in the distance. It seems to be chasing a pack of raptors. You watch as other kind of fleet of foot creatures that move in about this wasteland. But for the most part, all of you spend the next 4 hours waiting for this snail creature to deliver you safely to the edge of these ruins. Eventually, you find yourself coming out of this strange bracken-like waste and up onto a great mesa-like plateau. Once on this surface, you can clearly see great piles of sand that have shifted, and you're now looking down into what can only be described as a massive valley of sand, rock, and ruinous landscape. You can see at least 3 major buildings of good size. One of them could easily be about 100 feet in height. Unfortunately, you also see signs of dunes equally as high as these buildings. So these storms move vast amounts of sand in and out of places like this. You can see the remains of what could only be described as ruined domiciles and housing, everything made from either stone, as that seems to be the only thing left over and left behind. There's at least the largest of the buildings looks surprisingly intact, but quite bereft or bare of any kind of sign or markings of what it might be, but it's quite large. You can see another building, unusually in decent shape because mixed in its stone facade, you could see like black, like obsidian stone that was obviously used intentionally. But for the most part, it seems like you've come upon a very large, ruinous landscape.
All right. Well, seeing as we don't have the ability to teleport particularly far, I think we should stay here for the night.
I asked.
I actually say that, but less cheeky as Harrow.
I asked the beast if he has things to eat and things here would take care of him while we are away for a bit.
Give me a persuasion roll. Is you using what, telepathic bond, or what are you using for this?
Let me look.
Because it was a spell you cast last session.
Yeah, because it might be. Oh no, it's 24 hours. Animal friendships 24 hours, and beast bond is already done.
Yeah, so I would say you're definitely going to burn another spell if you want to maintain that 24-hour cadence. So you could cast it again to kind of reset the timer, allowing you to make sure that when you have at least a fresh 24 hours to return to it, it responds, I am fine here. I will wait. Don't know what wait means, but I'll try.
Try to stay in the area here.
Meanwhile,
And,
the mollusk eyes are kind of peeled back, looking at you. A couple of the tentacles drift into the dust and rock and pulling up whatever nutrition it can from this part of the ground.
Is there a lot of salt and stuff on the top of it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna collect some and put it in my coin bag and put Green Bottle's hand in there and pack it in the salt.
Okay. Give me a sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand. I see what you did there.
Sleight of hand. 15.
15. You gather up enough salt and pack the hand kind of as best you can into one of the reptilian bags and seal it shut as best as you can. It might keep for a while. It's hard to tell.
All right. I'll just keep replacing the sands as the juices seep into it
The salt.
till it's mummified.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Fair enough. All of you are still on the back of this creature.
Look at me like that.
You said juices.
Looking down in this massive ruinous landscape, what would you guys like to do?
I'm out of my spells at this point.
All of them.
Yes, I'm not very powerful. I'm not like you, Haro.
Well, you shall have time to recover your abilities. I'm going to start scouting out the immediate area for a place such as I described. If I can find like a really strong elevated base from which to put the tower.
Okay. Give me perception.
I'll go ahead and describe what I'm looking for to the others too, so that they might aid me while I obviously trip and fall into my own eyes.
I'll look for a flat spot for him.
Go for it.
25.
25.
Fall into your own eyes. How do you?
How do you do
Into
that?
my own eye.
Paradox!
Definitely paradox. Definitely, I would agree with that.
My paradox die hit one.
Herodox. As far as seeing Harrow's concern and confusion, you kind of point at the large structure down in the very middle of the valley. It seems to be the tallest. It seems to have a shattered or fractured portion of its top that's been either, decayed over time, but it seems to be the best option available. Most of the other ruins are at angles or merely just jumbled piles of rock and detritus.
Okay.
Right.
Point over there. That way. That one.
Ah, yes. Brilliant. Now, good job, Sephora. This will be perfect. This will give me a chance to show how my powers have grown, as I will upcast as we get close enough to make a 3-story tower. This time with we're gonna do a dining space downstairs. Up the level above that, a bedroom with bed, chairs, chest, and magical fireplace. And the level above that, we're going to go an observatory with a telescope and maps of the night sky.
That's so bougie.
I just lean over to Sephora. It's only like 10 extra feet, but it feels like it really matters to him. So let's just like.
It's so glorious!
Amazing.
Oh my goodness. Your
Dar
powers have grown.
They've
starts
doubled.
clapping. So it takes you about an hour to get to this location, walking through the ruins. Everybody give me fresh perception checks as you begin to meander through this space and make your way towards the large building or structure in the very middle.
The
Nice.
tower is so much longer than I saw it the last time.
Yeah. Keeps getting bigger.
What we rolling?
Perception. Perception.
Make
Perception.
your own bedrooms in there. Like, are you gonna share? Or...
Perception.
Yes, of course.
Got a nat 20, so it'll be a 30.
Okay. Gray, what'd you get?
What?
I felt cool about my 23.
You had
I'm a
10?
perceptive person.
Oh, dang.
Harold, what'd you get?
A 9?
9. You seem very lost in thought about casting this new, larger version of your spell, and you're looking very much forward to it. Gray and Sephora, for the two of you, this definitely looks like it was a large city at one point, quite large. There's certain areas of the ruin that seem to still be buried even deeper under the dune-like sand and all the kind of spots that are either exposed or not exposed. It's quite possible that the structure you're walking towards is the portion that's available to even be able to see. It looks like there may be more of it that could be buried underneath. Buildings to the right and left, some are large, some are medium. You do pass by a very large building that seems to have statuary of the god and goddess Cinderfan and Symphoneus on either side of what looks to be ruined stone stairs leading up to the front of a very wide open space of the building. No doors or any kind of sign of any kind of barriers, and it just kind of disappears into the darkness. You can see in very simple Araphanian over the main archway of the entranceway, learn or be taught. And then there's kind of book-like imprints and reliefs all over the front. And it just says the Great Library across it as well. It would appear to be the entrance of a very large library.
Hey, it's
I will-
books.
Point that out to Haro. I nudge him because he seems to be deep in contemplation of his newfound tower power.
His newfound tower power. Oh my god, that's a t-shirt right there. Tower power.
Rise!
Power, baby.
Can you imagine when that shit has... Let me see. Hold on. I need to do the math. I can originally do it 2 levels and a 3rd level spell, which means 8. When it's 8 stories high, if I cast it at 9th level.
That's pimp.
And in any case, yes, I'm obviously very excited as soon as you mentioned books. What? Where?
Right there, look. The building with the books carved onto it?
I was so focused on my own power, I hadn't even thought to getting a bit of exploring before we slept.
And let that be a lesson to us all. If
Probably
we
that
focus
awful
too much
mask
on
you
our
wear.
own power and our own development, we lose sight of those around us and the things that we could be doing for them.
What was that? I wasn't listening that close as I shoved Dara out of the way.
Dara just looks down at you like, okay.
Maybe if you didn't have that hideous mask on, you would see better.
Well, maybe I will use... I'm going to pick up something that I can find over here.
Good one.
You find like a shattered piece of a book rock relief. You kind of pick it up and look at it, pretending to do your best to look busy.
Very mystical, this.
I think you're avoiding a conversation, Haro, but that's all right. You look at your rock.
I'm going to do a more thorough search of the immediate area.
So right now you guys are at the base of the steps leading up to the very front entrance that's mostly exposed. There's bits of waves of sand that have kind of fallen into it, and the storm has dispersed some of the sand in different directions, almost like it's partially exposed. All three of you give me investigation checks as you're making your way up the staircase at this point.
14.
Okay.
17.
Zephora, 92.
No, I got a 16. I know I'm really good at this stuff, but sometimes I roll shit too. 16.
Okay. For the three of you walking up these stairs, the overall size of the building begins to become more apparent. It is quite large, and you're now beginning to see where fractured areas of stone outline windows begin to appear. Some have sand pouring out of them. Some are partially submerged below off to your left. It would appear that these stairs lead up to a point, but there might be deeper areas of the building down to either right or left of you, but mostly buried in sand. As you make your way on the very top of the entrance into the space, it's very dark inside, but there's points of light that are attempting to come through. As it's beginning to be a new day at this point, the light of the day is starting to show up. Looking in this space, there's lots of stone statuary that's collapsed in on itself. You can see great stone tables just leaning or fallen over. Oddly enough, you can see that makes up the majority of the back half of this particular space, a series of stone countertops and like little like stone areas that maybe people would use to have a conversation or use to do some study. There's no sign of any other furniture of any other kind. Obviously, depending on how old this space is, who knows? But all of you kind of like staring and looking down into the space, quite large, looking upwards. You can see where part of the ceiling has cracked and eroded and letting direct light down into the space itself. You can see off to your left at the very far end of the structure an opening that seems to go somewhere else. Off to your right, you can see a set of stairs, stone stairs leading down into the sand. And then, oddly, high up to your right, you can see what looks like another entrance on a different level, but no clear way of getting to it that you can see. No stairwell or anything else like that. And then everything behind these stone-like counters, there's just vast, empty kind of shelving, stone-like shelving stacked everywhere. But there seems to be these voids in the shelves. They appear to be stone shelves. They look like they should hold something, but there's just like a void that maybe whatever was there has long since rotted over time.
I will investigate that area.
Okay, so you start walking over to where all the stone shelving is. What are the rest of you doing?
My initial enthusiasm seems to have been a bit misplaced. It's like many of the ruins I've stumbled across here. It might be worth time to comb and delve through the rest of it, as long as this place is the safest structure that we can find. But I think Harrow's like kind of already in his own head about it, like there's never anything. There was only the one. It's only the one damn thing. A handful of scrolls of spells elsewhere. But like he's just looking through all of the decayed, decrepit area, just kind of turning things over with his foot.
Okay.
Sort of like another round of this.
Great. Go ahead and give me investigation, Harrow. Give me investigation, Zephora. Gray, what are you doing?
Sweet.
I was looking to see if I had
On
anything.
fire!
Okay.
I'm on fire. I got a 28.
Okay.
16 on my end.
Okay. Gray, what are you doing?
I was looking to see if I had anything that would assist us in combing this area at large. I'll just go over to Harrow and Pat give him guidance, because why not?
Okay.
But I'll I'll see if I can work in tandem with Philip to figure out what's going on here.
Philip kind of comes out from underneath. Luckily for you, Philip is quite nimble and had managed to avoid most of the force damage you took getting melted into the rock. Arrow, yeah, she got that for
Awesome.
Dara made that for her for her birthday. It's so cool.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Indeed. It's a Philip.
Definitely a Philip.
He has his own collar, and it even says Philip.
Aww.
It's very good.
So I'm a ask Philip. Okay, so don't tell Harrow that I noticed, but it seems like he would care very much about finding something cool over here. So let's go together to try to find him something cool. Huh?
Errol, you're so negative. Why are you so negative?
Should I be feeling otherwise? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm quite happy to be alive, but I would much rather be so in better circumstances. You've lost your home. I've lost my leads. We're out here stranded.
We are in better circumstances.
Dara just crosses her arms and goes, how is this better?
We're not dead.
Oh, well, that's a good point. She kind of walks off in a separate direction.
Again, I'm happy for that, for whatever that counts for. But we're no closer to actually making headway on anything.
You're hard to read. You say you're happy, but you look like... Oh, Mr. Screenbottle said, pissed off. See, that's a snarl. I know that. I was taught about snarls.
Look, Sephora.
Like Mrs. Greenbottle said, turn that frown upside down.
You don't know I'm frowning.
Your voice sounds frowny. I don't even have to see it.
I'll have you know, I'm beaming.
Do you ever take that mask off? Maybe to, air out your face?
You hear Daria yell from the other side, or exfoliate.
What?
Trust me, plenty of sand still leaks in.
That must be uncomfortable. Well, what did I find over there at the shelving?
Going across the stone counters that are there, it looks like something about 6 inches in width and many, many feet in height would have sat in between some of these spaces. But now there's just these great gaps everywhere. As you're looking at these gaps, you kind of look at the structure that they were in, and you begin to realize there's fractured stone that you're now staring at. And you can see that there's breaches. There's something behind this wall.
But it's only 6 inches in width?
The gaps are. There's 6 inch wide gaps, but there's little fractures in those gaps that are allowing you to see that you think there might be an empty space behind this massive wall.
I will look for a way to get in.
Okay. We'll go off that initial roll that you had, and you begin to try to figure out if there's a way. There's no obvious way, other than the fact that maybe breaking through physically through the wall might be one way, but you don't come across any like additional doorway or access point that you could tell. Harrow, what'd you roll?
I believe I had a 16.
16. As you kind of pick your way through and over, you do recognize what these stone tables are. They are monuments of the way that academics used to study. They'd build these great, massive stone tables, and then they would hold, they'd either hold teaching sessions or learning sessions, or they would be copying or writing down information. This is very similar to other large libraries that you've searched through before. But like all these old ancient ruins, if there were actual books here, they've probably rotted and decayed long over time, not being very well preserved if exposed out in the open. Plus, if these acid storms have come and gone through this area, quite possibly why the only thing left is the stone of the ruins that you can see. For you and Gray, though, you can see where Zephora is now kind of poking and prodding at different areas of the wall. Dara has come over to where you are, Zephora, kind of picking up on what you're trying to do. You watch as she reaches over and pulls at a large loose stone. Part of the wall now crumbles, exposing a 4 by 2 foot section of like a cavity behind this wall. And all of a sudden you can hear your own voices kind of echoing back as your voices are, for you and Dara and Zephora, your voices are kind of rebounding off in this great space that you seem to have exposed.
There's an area back here that looks interesting.
Be careful, as I said. They don't leave much, the storms and the rains, but some
maybe
things
this-
that survive in these ancient places, they bite back when you meddle.
All right.
I will
All
wander
right.
over and take a peek, though.
Okay. Looking inside, it's very dark, but now that more light has kind of been exposed and kind of leaking into the space, you could see what looks to be cages. You could also see what looks to be great boxes of something. Hard to tell from here. You could also see that there's more stuff and a lot more things back in this empty space. Looking kind of at the crack and upwards, you could see where the light is kind of refracting off of whatever is inside of this space and casting pinpoints of light up into the top of the roof. It's a large space, but it seems to be filled with things as well.
Let's see my inventory.
What is that again?
I
Can't
will
quite
light.
make out.
Dara reaches over and pulls out another piece of stone, more of it exposing, and then she begins to kick and hammer away at the other pieces of stone, giving you a 3 feet wide by 4 feet tall section of the wall that's been now kind of pulverized and exposed. You seem to be looking into a very large storage section.
I'm going to... I'm assuming it's pretty dark light, right?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of light making its way in here.
Okay. In my immediate space, is there like an open floor spot with very little, with very few things near it?
Give me a perception check.
18.
18. As you look at the space immediately in front of you, there are a series, and it's kind of confusing because this can't be possible. They look like wooden crates, but that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Would have rotted.
You would think. As you kind of
Absolutely.
step in a little bit and you feel the crate, it's been petrified, turned to stone.
Nearby, I want to point to the ground and create bonfire if I can find an open enough space.
Yeah,
where we
there's
can
a,
damage
yeah,
anything.
there's a little bit of space there. You, as the bonfire comes into existence, everybody else can now clearly see into this storage area. There are great iron cages. Inside of these cages are skeletal remains that have fossilized inside these cages. You can also see great stacks of fossilized crates, sealed shut, it would seem that this space has not suffered any kind of exposure to any of the acid storms or other storms that could do damage here. And there's great piles of all these fossilized, what once would have been wood, for some of you not overly familiar with it. Harold, you mentioned it a couple times. Dara is completely confused. She does not understand what you mean, what even wood is. Gray, your background would be familiar with it because the lore and the teachings of the Stonewood are very well understood, that at some millennia or more ago, wood and trees used to exist on the surface of Sinder. Sephora, you're not overtly familiar with the term either, but these great giant boxes stacked everywhere.
They're stone boxes to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Co-mingling on the main floor of this chamber are these great cages, all of which have some level of either small, medium, or very large size fossilized skeletons kind of haphazardly draping or lying on the ground or leaning against the cages. You even find examples of fossilized food in the space near these cages. Looking towards the right and the left, you can see like pieces of metal that are just lying on the ground. You can see piles and piles of fossilized bones of what might have been humanoid at one time, not really knowing for sure. But they seem to all be collapsed on each other and all facing the same direction of the back area of the storage room. As the bonfire kind of casts light off in different directions, you can see a series of stairs leading up to a large archway at the very back of this space.
There's more. This petrified box here. Sephora, would you mind taking a look at it?
Very well. I'll examine it.
Okay, give me an investigation check.
So it's going to be 26.
26. There does seem to be a point where there was a lid that's fused to the other sides. If you were to chisel at it, work at it, and get it shook loose, there does appear to be a way to open up this box.
That's what I'll try to do.
Okay, give me an athletics check.
Oh.
With advantage, because I'll say Dara's helping you.
Dara, help me with your strong, muscular arms. Thank God. I got a 10.
10. Between the two of you, the lid shifts just a little bit of crumble, but doesn't budge.
Well, it's rock, right?
Feels like it.
I just take like the pommel of my dagger and hit it on the side of the box.
Okay. Give me an attack roll.
Okay, so with my dagger. 24.
24. Can't really take that much damage, but go ahead and roll damage.
Well, no. I
know that was your to hit, but go ahead and give me a damage roll.
6.
6. As you slam into it, it cracks. You watch as part of the box cracks outward, and then there's a hissing noise, like a seal being broken, and a strange smell that you're not familiar with at all. In fact, those of you around this space aren't familiar with at all. As it cracks open, out spills at least 2 or 3 dozen well-preserved, leather-bound books in perfect shape.
What are these? Have I seen these before?
And the smell is strange. It's not a familiar smell at all.
Have I seen anything like this before?
No.
Oh.
For you, definitely not.
Am I able to see, like, from where I am? Like, I kind of picture that I was off, like, looking at things, and then I look back.
You hear the crack and the thud, and you hear as objects are spilling out of the crate. You even watch as one of the objects crashes to the ground, opens, and you hear, like, the pages flitting back and forth.
Oh my gosh.
I hand one to Haro. Here, look at this thing.
Oh, be careful. I trust you. I trust you, but don't touch them. Please. Please don't touch them.
These look flammable. They probably make a good fire.
No. Please.
Oh.
Please, just...
Fahrenheit 451, anybody?
Well, you know, it's difficult to get toilet paper around the wastes.
True.
No, I'm going to
Sand
just, like...
gets old.
I'm going to come upon them and just immediately, like, very gingerly. I'm going to see if I have anything, like, even in my spells that could do something to help make sure I don't touch them too hard. Yeah, I don't want to touch them with my hand. I want to, like, gently mage hand one open. I don't want my oils getting on it.
Yeah, so you...
My oils.
My oils.
I've got oils.
Oils.
We're oils people.
There's the one. There's the one I was looking for.
It's pretty much a dry, hot space, so, you know, it's... If your body's making oils, kudos to you. You watch as the mage hand pulls open the first book. It's in surprisingly well-preserved shape. There's some slight damage to the leather binding. A couple of the pages of paper are slightly torn. But you're looking at an immeasurable amount of wealth just from this one petrified box. And there's hundreds of them here. Hundreds of these boxes.
See, they were investigating this, and I, on the other hand, was over there having a full conversation with Philip. So all of us are doing cool things.
And what you can glean from Philip's chattering and mandible clacking is he'd probably prefer that you not get frozen in stone again. That was pretty terrifying.
Okay, well, look, Philip, I know I didn't try to, but sometimes ghost worms, you know, I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently there are ghost worms. But fortunately, I have this dagger. You see this dagger? It's pretty cool. Hey, Philip, do you know how to wield a dagger? Do you think hold?
Put it on the missing stump.
Think you could hold this one?
There's a voice in your head. That's not very funny. Don't give me to your pet spider.
Okay, but I don't really know how to, like, talk to you most of the time, and this is a good inciting incident.
Well, if you hand me that spider, it's likely to explode with the psychic energy that I would put inside of it. I'm not even sure
he's done
how...
that once, to be fair.
I'm not even sure how your brain is managing to maintain its sanity. Although, if one is...
Questionable that is happening. If I'm honest, I feel like I'm talking to myself more than I used to, which is maybe concerning.
Hey, Knights of the Bantam, thanks for rating us. We appreciate that very much. Hey, Hope. I knew you had friends, Hope. You didn't have to get married to find friends. You already had them. And for those that didn't know this, Hope got Hope for TTRPGs. She's one of my bestest buds. She got married, I believe, last weekend. She is now officially a member of the club, as they say. Skelly, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. We are currently examining Gray's inner psyche as she's about to hand a cursed dagger to her pet cave spider, which has finally triggered a reaction from the dagger. I mean, one could say a rusty pot can hold some water, I guess.
What?
Golly
I
gee.
come up with stupid stuff, and that was dumber than what I do.
Well, it's been a while since I've drank. And There's this
What?
urge to
No,
kind of.
no, no. I stabbed a giant worm. Are you not satisfied with giant ghost worm?
But I don't think it. I don't think it was a ghost worm. I don't even know what that is. I
Me
need blood.
neither.
I need souls to drink.
Oh, cool.
Just
Stab myself in the head.
you stab yourself. Go ahead and roll damage.
2.
You're pretty tasty. I'll take that.
Yeah, I've been told.
Meanwhile, for the three of you, you could clearly hear Gray having a conversation with Philip. Something about stabby and daggers and ghost worms, but
I don't hear anything.
yeah, you're just obsessed with the books that you found.
Could probably read it better if you didn't have a mask on.
I'm quite fine, thank you.
That stinky old mask, you need to take that off.
It's not the time. I'm just like
All right.
obsessively like trying to see like is it in languages I understand.
They do appear to be written in Arifean. At least a form of it. It seems to be legible. Most of the books are the same exact thing. Something about the scriptures and teachings of the twins. The cover of each of the books has the twins holding up the sun, the moon. It seems to be religious text for the most part, describing, their following, the understanding of their teaching, the preaching of their religion, the combined understanding of everything kind of related to the lore and theory regarding the twins, which is odd. Most of the common lore that most of you are aware of is that they're not friends to each other, that the lore has always been scripted very differently, that Talona has always been said to be the more powerful of the three, and that the twins are harbingers more than caretakers. But these books speak very differently.
These books, it's interesting in some sort of archaic Arathanian. It's like some sort of heretical cult or something, talking about a different form of the twins. It's difficult to quite understand what's going on here.
Do I know about that from Mistress Greenbottle at all?
Give me a religion check.
$17?
17. I mean, you've always been privy to some of the conversations regarding the idea of the twins, the idea of what they're capable of doing or what they're involved with. But, to have any kind of religious dealings with the twins in most of the controlled areas of Sinder, especially those under the control of Titan's Fall, is seen as heresy and seen as very dangerous indeed. But there are people out there that believe very differently about the twins and their existence. They even believe, according to the lore, and Harrow, you'd be aware of this as well, that at some point they did work together, and at some point before the destruction of this planet or this world, things did used to be better. Things were better. That's always been the myth and the lore around those that teach the teachings in regard to Inderfan and Symphonius. The idea that they're always trying to bring back a better world at the hope of the future guidance of bringing these two gods back. But the dominant belief is that Talona saved the world from destruction. She drove off the Harbingers of Doom, which was the twins, and stabilized and kept the world from falling even deeper into decay.
Are all the books the same?
These ones seem to be, yes.
Okay.
They
I'm
seem
gonna
to be
take one.
religious teachings about the twins.
I want to take one and put it in my backpack.
Okay.
I'll touch it with my hands.
The leather's very strange. It's not a material or surface that you're familiar with. It's very kind of like soft and forgiving. It doesn't tear quite like the vellum books that you've dealt with in the past that seem to be very crudely made and crudely manufactured. There's stitching. There's a hardcover to it. It's interesting. It's not something that you're familiar with at all.
Sephora, careful. These pages, they're made from wood. Do you understand?
No. But
As far as
I like
know.
what it's-
That one object you are touching.
You've
Look,
got
if it
yours.
was
I
t-
have mine.
If
If
it
you
was
want another one, there's a whole box of them.
Sephora, listen to me.
Yes.
That one object you hold in your hand, if it was torn into 1,000 shreds, blown into the wind, and run through the excrement of progenitors, it would still be enough. It would be worth enough water tokens for you to live the rest of your life in relative comfort.
Oh,
As it is,
perfect.
flawless and undisturbed and unmarked. Do you have any idea what it could mean?
I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I want to find out about things.
Just
I want to read it.
be as delicate as you are physically capable.
Gray, what's your passive perception?
Who's
16,
oh.
but I will just say that I see that they're having this conversation. Oh, Philip, sorry, I know we're having a conversation. Philip, it looks like they have something really important to them over there. How about we work together to try to make them a basket? Huh?
Thanks for the follow, little baby granddad. Appreciate that.
Gray? We're independently wealthy.
I already was that, but nobody ever asks me.
Now you're doubly. Take one of
That-
these things we found.
Oh, a book?
Oh, yes, a book. Take this.
Gray, as you pick it Gray, as you pick it up, it's nothing like, I mean, some of the tomes that the priestesses and priests would use as part of the Order of the Stonewood and you know, some of their magical teachings, even their most finely vellum books never look quite like this. I mean, the texture of the material, the pages, all of it's very unfamiliar and foreign to you. It's not something you're familiar with at all. The
Do,
pages
like,
rip
like,
easy.
oh. And then I feel like I look, lower the book and just see Hera going,
Pretty much.
look, I only got a little bit of blood on it. Wait, whoops.
The value of these is
It was a
beyond
joke.
comprehension.
Joke. I don't have a hole in my hand. I don't know what you're talking about because I also cast Cure Wounds.
Anti-stigmata. The hole fills in.
We see your hands wounded.
I
Or did
tried
you
to
already-
do. I definitely attempted to do that before I came over.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we're good
Then-
with that.
Okay, then I don't. know.
Thanks, Dungeon
Right.
Maker, for the follow. Appreciate it.
Oh well, look at how many other boxes we need to break open.
Let's go.
All right.
Gently,
Okay.
right? Gently.
What? Why?
Given
are
a
all the-
night to given a
why
night to prepare, I can probably open any of them without any further fisticuffs. I've recently learned some power of the stone.
All
Fisticuffs?
right.
Did you
Maybe
find
we
a
should
box?
rest.
Were you boxing?
I learned a spell called Stone Shape.
Oh yeah, I could know that too.
Anyone could. Not enough time to study.
All right.
Yes, no, of course, it's very impressive that you can know
They're
Stone
very strong and powerful mages. Hera, we gotta come on.
I want to go to
Yes.
another box and break it open and see what's in there.
Ah!
Give me an attack roll.
I just want to see if they're all the same kind of. If this is like like they're gonna put them in all the motel rooms, let's see. So
Yeah, you found the storage for the Gideon Bibles.
yeah, 19. Yeah, let's say Super 8 Motel on all of them.
Hey, Initiative League, thanks for the raid. Go ahead and roll damage see how much damage you do to the box.
5 points.
Yeah, it shatters at the base. Like you just kind of do the pommel thing again. This box is slightly more of a medium size than the large size of the other one. As you slam into it, the look on Harrow's face is just crumbling as well over 100 freshly coiled parchments come spilling out of it onto the ground. And the smell, the now new smell of paper permeating, and it's half spilt out, half filled with these parchments. They all seem to have the same kind of writing on them. They seem to be informational kind of based. And they have like an artwork to them with kind of like glyphs and like other designs kind of playing around the edges of them. They're almost like posters that could be hung. You can see that if you were to pull them open, there's little pieces of very well preserved silken thread on the tops and bottoms. And it basically describes an event, a seasonal event that takes place during a time period referred to as springtime. Not a familiar time that you understand, but you've never even heard the term spring before. But they're in like very archaic Araphanian language begins to describe it, almost like the description of like a great festival that is celebrated.
I take one over to Haro. Here you go. Look.
It crinkles. Give me a sleight of hand, because these are a lot more delicate than the books.
I'm not being very. I'm not being very. I'm not even gonna roll. I'm just open it up like that. Look.
It tears in half as she opens it.
I throw it down and get another one.
Sephora, if you do
Yes?
that again, I cannot be held accountable for my actions.
Ooh. What are you gonna do to me?
He's not flirting with you.
Oh,
I'm really not.
Well, Zafara is Mantis for all intents and purposes.
I pick another one up, but I don't open it. I just bring it over to him.
Wait.
Yeah,
Wait.
there you go.
Wait. I go over
Yeah.
to where the paper is on the ground, and I lift it up, and I push it together, and I cast mending. Huh?
Yeah, it's small enough. It's the first time you've kind of practiced this spell in a while. Harrow, you watch as it kind of brings it back together. Greg, give me an Arcana check.
Wonderful. See, I told you, great and powerful mages. Only the greatest, most powerful mages would know a cantrip like mending.
I believe my head is spinning. I'm going to sit down.
You said we wouldn't
Archers.
find anything.
I said we probably wouldn't. This is.
You don't even look happy about it.
No, I am.
I know what happy looks like. Mrs. Greenbottle showed me. Your mouth goes the other way.
You can't see his mouth.
Oh, that's right. I can't see his mouth. Your beak goes the other way.
Your beak.
I can't. I haven't found anything like this since many years ago.
Are you happy about our circumstances now?
Certainly happier.
Oh, see?
I'm going to put it down on the cleanest spot and mage hand it open gently.
Okay. As it opens, you are looking at what looks to be a festival poster of some sort. describing a seasonal time period called spring, a great celebration of the bringing in of the harvest, and a period of time that the twins are celebrated at their utmost, and they are thanked quite diligently for their bounty and their favor that they give to the people of Manga.
I'll allow that one to roll again,
Okay.
and then bring up one of the other ones to see if it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Whatever this spring ritual was, it was popular. I think that these are all old posters describing it in some regard, as I delicately mage-hand it down again. Yes, Gray.
Oh, I was just going to let the DM know that the great and powerful Mage Gray got a 6 on their Arcana.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm kind of curious about the archway over there. Look at the way the bodies are here.
Yes,
All kind
you
of
say
pointing
bodies?
that way.
mostly skeletons. The petrified. Turned to
My
stone.
area of expertise.
Gray starts. Dara just brings both of her big, like, orky hands up to her temples. She's like rubbing her temples.
Yes, have fun, I suppose.
So, Gray, as you
Please keep them away from these.
Yeah, you watch as Gray, as you kind of push through the three companions, Zafora and Harrow. Zafora seems to be enjoying the time of tormenting Harrow a little bit. It is kind of fun. Emotions are new to her. You kind of, Dara just kind of glares at you, but kind of smiles at the same time. As you get close to this space, you begin to realize that these skeletal figures all seem to be definitely humanoid in shape, but they are fully fossilized. They are no longer bone. There is no bone remaining whatsoever. That's obviously all kind of fallen away, and they're just now fossilized figures of whatever they used to be. They're collapsed on top of each other, almost in a mad rush or running towards the great opening in front of you, this big archway. Above the archway, you can see writing kind of reliefed into the archway, etched in there. And it says the museum and hall on top of it.
Okay, well, I thought you guys were going to be a little bit more useful. And I can't say that I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, they kind of have to be bone to be kind of to do what you'd like to do with them.
As I'm holding a book up and magically turning through it, I'm just like, oh, don't worry. Judging by the looks of things, I'm sure one of us will be dead and usable before too long.
I vote not me.
Yes, probably me as well. Without you, I don't know how I'd ever stay alive.
That's true. If we're just talking about the law of averages, it's almost certainly going to be you, and then not you again. And what would happen if I killed you and then tried to speak with your spirit? Just out of
Right.
curiosity.
It would be very uncooperative.
Kind of like how
Have you ever been
how Harrow is now.
Yeah, like that's every day.
I've been doing so much to help us, excuse me. I just don't like it. I'm a very good party member. I just act like I'm not.
I don't know where that thought came from. I was just curious. Anyway, there seems to be dust though, and I just gather up some of the dust.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand. We'll see how much you gather.
What's that next season called that's coming up? Where it gets really hot.
The season of heat.
Oh, okay, that's easy.
I mean,
What's the hot one?
yeah,
It's the hot one.
in the world of Cinder, you only have 3 seasons: the season of dark, season of light, and the season of heat. The season of heat is the longest. It takes about 9 months, 8 to 9 months. The season of dark is 2 months, and the season of light is about a month.
Okay. Yeah, I got something coming up for Zephora for that.
Gray, sleight of hand.
Yeah, that's at 12.
12? Yeah, I mean, you gather about a small bag worth of fossilized ash and remains from the humanoid creatures on either side of you. Is your D&D Beyond being difficult?
I accidentally kept putting in damage because I cast Cure Wounds and I accidentally put in
Yeah.
damage instead of healing. And then I tried to close it, and now it's reset to a lower number that was not the number that I even had before. And I think I was at 48 and now need to add 6. I think that sounds right.
Fair enough. No, keeping track of hit points is always so much fun, especially when you make goofs.
I love a good goof. I think that I am going to trying to think of something I can protect these with. Let me look through my items.
Okay.
I want to bind them all up in something protective. The ones that are currently out and exposed to the air.
I go up to another box.
Wait, Zephora. You should hold off because we can only carry so much at one time. Zephora! What are you doing? Are you actively sabotaging us just to infuriate me?
So a 21.
Roll for damage.
Okay. She actually smiles now. 9 points.
9 points.
No, I'm sorry. 7 points.
This is one of the smaller boxes. Gonna slam into it, and when you do, and the fossilized wood shatters underneath the blow, out comes at least 3 dozen glass vials that crash to the floor and shatter. You watch as fresh water just sprays all over the ground and seeps into the sand.
I smell it. Does it smell fresh?
No, it just smells like stale water.
Stale dishwater? Okay. I pick one up.
The look on Harrow's face.
I pick one up and throw it toward Harrow. Here, look at this.
It cuts me or something because I don't move.
Take 1 point of piercing damage as the fracture of glass kind of bounces off your still form.
Sorry, here. I'm sorry. It probably's gonna taste better than that anyway. Here.
What is Gray offering?
I'm just holding out a water coin. Here, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's old nasty water. Someone put it inside of a bottle.
It was fresh water that you just spilled onto the earth through your carelessness. Zephora, I've humored you for a while now. We need to stop. No further. Do you understand me?
That creepy fucking mantis smile.
If Zephora lifts up that arm, I will begin to prep a spell.
Zephora, you can tell this time around Harrow's pretty serious.
Well, you would attack me over a dumb box full of old water.
I wouldn't kill you. I would stop you.
How would you kill me?
You're so dark.
I don't have many options. Most of
The
them.
dagger is now vibrating in your hand, Gray.
Why?
It seems that Harrow and Zephora are getting kind of heated.
Okay, look.
I-
I just gave you a snack. Do you
Give
need?
you a snack.
Do you need more food? Or
Well, I could always eat. I mean,
Going
let's
to
face
do,
it.
Harrow, you're
Ye-
gonna burn me.
You're the only one that could really manage yourself out here. These two are useless.
I mean,
Let me drink the dark one.
that's a little. It's not entirely inaccurate. It's a little rude. They're my friends.
Yes, I notice your tense friendship with the one that you nearly severed her throat.
Yeah, I wasn't myself in that moment, and I feel like you, more than anybody, know that.
Perhaps.
Ooh, burn.
But I've satiated myself for now, and you are tasty. But
Honey's blood or whatever.
there's always another day, another need, another piece of your mind I can just chip away at gradually, eventually. It's fine. I'm patient. Whatever it takes. And her voice kind of like drifts to the back of your kind
Gray
of thought.
just kind of slumps a little bit where they're standing because they know that is accurate.
So many boxes in so little time.
No, we needed to take our time.
You just said this place will be covered with sand.
Yes, but
How long are we
this,
going to stay here?
I'm staying as long as it takes.
You know how long it'll take to go through all these boxes, all painstakingly like you want to?
Sometime. Are you in a hurry?
I don't want to be in any ruins. Do you know what's in ruins? You even told me.
Yes.
Monsters and things.
You've already been
And you never
stumbling
find
through
anything. And look, we
things.
found a whole room full of stone boxes. And they're easy to break into. And they don't blow up and kill me. So let's just break them all open and see what's here.
How are we going to carry all of it?
We're not going to. We're going to take what we can and leave the rest.
If we leave the rest, it'll rot if we've broken it open.
Who cares? Who else is going to have it?
Me.
What are you going to do? What are you going to stay here
I'm going to catalog
and
everything.
slobber all over all these scrolls?
Anything that we can't carry, I'm coming back for.
Well, what if we burn it, because then everything we have becomes more valuable?
It's all the same value because no one else has this. The
If
scarcity
someone
still
else
exists.
finds this place, then they'll all have these scrolls and they won't be worth anything.
No one's finding this.
We found it.
You're like out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Some
and Harrow
idiots
knows
on top
this.
of that snail had a scroll that had a map to it. They found it and they're dead.
I had to die to find this place.
You'll have to explain that to me sometime.
We were thrown through a portal into the middle of nowhere. In fact,
Well-
the most nowhere one can be in the wastes.
Guess
Even
what?
if one saw this off in the distance,
It threw us right to here where all these things are, and now we have them. So let's look at them and let's take them and let's use them and let's become rich and wealthy. And let's kill and eat kill slavers.
Kill and eat, kill slavers.
I just look at the dagger. Maybe you're right.
My revenge upon them.
yes, you can
Bathe
have
in their
that and
blood.
more. I want to help
Sup on
you.
their meat.
God, you're creepy.
Sephora,
Yes.
you can have all of that and more, and you shall have my assistance with it if you don't go wasting the most most precious resource I have found out in these wastes which are damned by the gods in ages.
You know, this is the first time I've really seen you care about anything.
Yes!
And it's books or scrolls or whatever you call them,
Yes.
not the person. You're going to kill me over some books?
Don't test me. Scorching ray.
Yes!
Let's see.
I'm not busting out the big guns. That could have been a lightning bolt.
A 14 hit?
Are you?
No, does a
Oh, on the
14 hit
box.
to break the box?
No, it does not. Your pommel kind of bounces off of it, fractures it slightly, but doesn't break it.
Okay.
All right, we've got a 25, a 15, and a 19 to hit.
Hit, miss, hit.
Okay.
Gray, the dagger is vibrating a lot in your hand.
I'm gonna just go ahead and make a voluntary roll real quick.
All right, that's 14 fire damage.
Okay.
Dara just turns around just in time to see the scorching ray slam into Zephora. She's about to slam another pommel strike into one of the stone boxes. Zephora, the flames kind of, the ray just beats across you. Gray, the dagger is almost ice cold to the touch. It's vibrating to the point of anticipation. Gray, give me a charisma save, please.
Okay, well, I made a voluntary roll.
I get blown back and I fall down.
Loading saves. 1 moment. Oh, right, I have proficiency in that one for God knows what reason. 14.
14. Everything around you just kind of slows down for a moment. Standing alongside you is an outline of a very small, thin female child. Maybe 3 feet in height. She's carrying something in her right hand, and she is gradually walking up to where both Zephora and Haro are having this argument, and Haro reacts, and Zephora is now struck by the flame. You watch as the shadow kind of hovers over it, leans down to where Zephora has fallen to the ground, and brings whatever it's carrying in its hand close to the neck. Haro, you're watching as Gray is now standing over the knockdown form of Zephora, dagger in hand, about to be plunged into Zephora's neck. Dara is running towards Gray, sprinting from the archway in the direction of where Gray is hovering over Zephora.
Okay, I am going to... hold on, let me make sure I can do this. God, you're probably great at this, but hopefully not this time. Gray, give me a wisdom save.
I am great at those, but hopefully not
We-
today.
Yeah.
I'll use a bad dice. 11.
11. Cool. Okay. You're feeling a bit suggestible as I say, Gray, why don't we talk about this first? You like to talk, don't you? You like to talk to me.
You hear a voice boom out of Gray's mouth. No, enough talk. I drink. You always seem to cater to your inner needs, whatever or whoever you are. But this thing at my feet, I smell its hate, its confusion, its anger, its jest, its humor. This soul probably tastes so yummy. Out of the corner of your eye, you watch as Dara just takes a leap, grabs Gray around the midsection, and tries to bring her down to the ground. Gray, give me a acrobatics or athletics. I'll let you choose.
I want to do something.
Don't matter. 4.
4. Dara has pinned Gray down to the ground. The shadow is disembodied from you, Gray. You don't know why Dara is wrestling with this shadow on the ground. Doesn't make any sense to you. You watch as Dara's hand comes up, whacks you across the face, or the shadow's face, and then you instinctively react to it. Give me a charisma save, please. Sephora, you're on the ground, sitting up. Harrow's like staring at shock as Dara is straddling on top of Gray and smacking her across the face.
10.
10.
I'll go over
You watch
there.
the shadow as it shifts and rears back and brings the dagger up into Dara's midsection. Give me an attack roll with disadvantage, please, as you are successfully grappled. Technically
That's 11.
restrained with Dara's strength. 11. You feel the blade kind of bounce harmlessly off of Dara's like limited amount of armor and clothing that she's wearing. Zafara, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go over, and I heard it say it wants to drink me, right? That's what it was saying.
Yeah, it was echoing. It finally took physical. Without giving too much away, it came from Gray's mouth, but just didn't sound like them.
Okay, I want to go over and I'm going to slam my palm onto the point of the dagger. And I'll say, "You want some? Drink it, bitch."
Give me sleight of hand with advantage to make sure you can do this.
Okay.
Because they are being tussled and pinned.
Right. So 17.
17. Gray, you watch as the shadow takes a little bit more form as Zephora's hand comes down near where the shadow's hand is. And you feel this kind of like sense of energy and rejuvenation as you're now free to roll for temporary hit points. That was one of the revelations to you. Zephora, I need you to make a con save, please.
Okay. Where's my con? I got a 13.
13, that'll fail. Gray, go ahead and roll 3d12 for damage.
Jesus. Okay.
It's a self-inflicted. It's a critical hit. We're doing the dice giveaway next week, Chav.
What's gonna happen?
I'm going to be
Unfortunately,
unhappy.
good roll. 21.
Take 21 points of piercing damage from the self-infliction, and you begin to feel some kind of poison coursing through your system as you are now poisoned, and you kind of fall backwards onto the ground.
Immune to that?
All right. Is it like a poison or like a magic thing?
You're not really sure. It's very disconcerting because you've never really actually
Been
felt
poisoned.
something like this. And you begin to watch as some kind of necrotic reaction is now consuming the surface of your skin as you just kind of wilt and your skin gets kind of ashen and crispy, and then you just kind of slump to the ground, blinking your eyes, feeling this kind of strange kind of transformation coming over you. Gray, you watch as the shadow takes on more shape, more form. You can now see a small child's face, a teenager of sort. Her dark green eyes blazoned with hate and fear at the same time. It shifts. It's trying to get now to Dara. Give me either acrobatics or athletics to see if you remain restrained. By the way, you take 4 points of unarmed strike damage from Dara.
For sure, restrained. 4.
Or so you're still restrained by Dara. She is pleading for you to wake up. And for Harrow and Zafara, it's just a strange cackle is emanating from Gray's mouth. They are just cackling with like a crazed laughter that you've never heard them utter before. Most of you were not aware or involved at all at this point. So this is all new for you. Dara, however, is frantic as another backhand comes down into Gray's jaw. Gray, you watch as the shadow is pinned underneath the form of Dara. You're still aloof and off to the side. Dara comes down, smacks you with a 22. Go ahead and give me a charisma save with advantage this time, taking 4 points of bludgeoning damage or unarmed damage.
Okay, well, thank God for the advantage, because the first one was a natural 1, but the second one is a 19.
Yeah, that natural 1 would have been bad. That would have been really bad. Suddenly, the shadow dissipates. You feel yourself drawn physically. The next thing you know, your eyes are open, jaw bruised, a very sickly-looking Zephora lying on the ground, Harrow in extreme shock, looking as Dara is about to give you another fresh backhand across the face. There's immediate recognition in the eyes, and she gets up and backpedals away from you, stumbling slightly away. Why do you continue to use that fucking dagger? And she turns on her heel and walks away from the scene.
Why are we all just angry at me all the time? Why are we not focusing on the fact that Harrow just blasted Zephora? Huh?
I've
That
got
was a
enough
thing.
for both of you.
Is that a threat?
Enough anger. I'm not going to shoot you. You've already taken enough punishment today.
But was that a threat?
No. It wasn't. Earnestly.
Do I believe him?
Give me an insight check.
21.
He seems genuine. Frustrated, but genuine.
Okay.
You look from Harrow, your passive would be high enough. Zafara looks miserable. Her skin tone is decrepit. Her physical appearance is wilty, to say the least.
I think I'm actually poisoned.
Okay.
This is funny.
Explain to me why you blasted her. Did she do something?
I told her this meant more to me than anything. And she kept destroying it.
Why were you doing that, Zephora?
Just die. I don't want to get involved in your stupid books and scrolls. You can have this conversation when I'm dead.
Can you do something for her?
I don't know. She just said that she would die.
That's a very nice dagger you have, by the way. I would keep it.
Yeah,
Just stab someone else with it.
Dara yells
I don't know
back.
why it likes me so much.
Dara yells from the other side of the room. God damn it, Zephora, that's not helping.
If we try and help you, are you going to keep this up?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's dagger. You want to probably keep Gray. That's better. I said it better that time.
Do you want help?
Are you talking to me?
Obviously.
I don't know. Are you my friends? Or I'm poisoned by something, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm
But it is
asking you.
it is funny. I'm poisoned. If you want to help me,
It's definitely a necrotic decay of some sort, not a more traditional poison. Gray, you get the feeling that this dagger feeds off tension, hate, discourse, and it became uncontrollable at that point. Just the briefest point, it took a window of opportunity, and it took the shape of its benefactor, of who it used to belong to, and allowed you a glimpse into another one of its potential revelations.
Okay, so yes, you want help. Got it. Cool. I don't know why we can't just plainly state things sometimes. That would be cool. You know, as opposed to just having this tension that floats around in the air all the time. Nobody just says what they're feeling or anything.
No one
And
wants
I
me to
will.
say my feelings right now.
I can gather that because I think that they might be something like I will catch all of these people that have helped me on fire because of a fucking book. And I cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay. You're restored. The necrotic nature of the poison dissipates from your physical existence, Sephora. Your skin taking on a little bit more of a normal tone for you.
oh, that feels better.
All of you can hear off in the distance Dara's voice. Guys, you need to
What?
see. You need to really see this. And she's staring into the interior of the archway where she came sprinting from before, where it says the museum in the hall above the archway.
I'm gonna go storming, and as I do, I'm mage handing the books into my pack, and as well as like 3 of the scrolls.
Yes. It's very Harry Potter of you, Haro.
Yes. But like furiously, it's just like as I storm in the direction Dara indicates.
Okay. Sephora, Gray leaves the two of you
Don't,
back.
don't be angry, Haro.
I
No
wouldn't
response to
antagonize
that.
him
I
right
just know
now.
how you feel about things now.
What'd you say, Gray?
I said I wouldn't antagonize him right now. I'm pretty sure that he tried to blast your face off.
I know.
Do you want
He's
your face
very
blasted off?
touchy.
Is that your thing?
No, I'm surprised he would put so much
Gray, give
value
me
on inanimate things.
give me an insight check really quick.
Okay. I just look. I don't think that that's the move. If I'm honest, I only have so many abilities to stitch your face back onto your face.
Stitch your
if that's
face
the
back
choice to
onto your
make,
face.
It's up to
You're
you.
funny, Gray. Thank you for
Yeah,
your
hilarious,
magic. I
know.
appreciate it.
Mhm, mhm. 9.
9. Zephora is a very difficult creature to read. Number one, she seems to not have a real true comprehension of both vernacular, of tonality, and emotional response to things. But it even seems more erratic than usual. This may be a responded kind of like way of dealing with grief that even Zephora may not be aware of. This strange behavior that she's going through. Hard to tell. Very difficult to read her, but she's just not used to this kind of emotional evolution that she seems to be going through.
Okay. Here's the thing. It's called I don't know what a good word for it is, but sometimes when your friends try to blast your face off with fire or stab you in the guts and stuff, it makes you feel things. I know that's not really your area of expertise, but sometimes people feel things. And sometimes that comes out as fire because they care about something. So maybe next time we don't press the man on the one thing, the singular one thing we know in the world that he cares about. Yeah?
Well, yes, I understand.
Do you?
I do. Let's go see what Dara found.
If creepy as fuck is what you are. Damn Yon T, man. Zafar kind of leaves you there momentarily, Gray, just flustered, confused, all these strange kind of like tensions and things burbling to the surface, almost as if
If you can't keep yourself together, they're going to kill me before you get to drink, okay? Keep it together.
there's kind of like a cold, kind of chilling laughter in your mind.
Come on, killer. Let's go see what's down here.
I'm telling you, just wait till she's asleep. We'll slit her throat. It'll be fine.
Just scoop the poison out of your body. Do
It's
you
Not
want
me.
to
I'm
be a
talking about the
killer?
halflings.
Because I can be a killer.
I
As
know. You were really good at it. You should have seen those halflings.
Hara, you and
Stop
Dara are
pressing! Stop it!
Haro, you and Dara are standing in the archway. You can hear Gray and Zephora bickering as they're walking up the stairwell. Haro, you're there first. The others are coming up behind you. And you're just gobsmacked at what you see. It seems implausible, if not virtually impossible. A massive cage, the largest cage you've ever seen. It is completely surrounded with more of these stone-like tables. You can see reliefs in the wall, very similar to the one that Dara had broken through to get you into the chamber that you're now on the opposite side of. In the middle of this very large cage, the only reason you recognize what it may be is because, well, dealing with the Drakes recently, it seems to be of the same form, but it's pure fossilized bone. 300 feet in length, 40, 50 feet in height, curled up in the very middle of the cage. A very long serpentine tail, very large wings folded off to either side of it, a huge head laid down, coiled up into its inner chest-like area, huge curved horns, massive horns, great protrusions of teeth, claws. You could see fossilized round discs, maybe 3 feet in width, 4 feet in height, have piled up all around the skeletal form. Curled around its massive forearms is something glowing, emanating, a kind of weird kind of energy pulsing. The first sign of anything out of the ordinary other than just rot, ruin, and decay. A gentle glow pulsing from something that it's pulled into its massive skeletal form. And you just hear Dara's voice. What the fuck is that? And that's where we're going to finish tonight.
I knew it.
Yo, in character, I'm aware we're all very mad at each other. Out of character, can I just say that would be the greatest gray mount ever? Like if it's made all bony and like
well, and see, that's why I like it when we have like. There's certain, I won't say his name because it's not important, but there is a certain person that would have mishandled that completely. It was a great opportunity.
Would have maybe taken it a step too far.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people just don't understand there's a difference between practicing the art of role playing, where you're immersed in your character, and you're responding to a situation that you're immersed in, you know, and watching Zephora, who's still very raw and new to these emotions. She's already doubly conflicted. She should be sad for Greenbottle, but she doesn't know how to express that. Gray is still trying to understand what the fuck is this dagger. Dara is emotionally clearly involved with Gray in her own mind in a certain way. Meanwhile, an entire lifetime of work is seen as being trivial to someone like Zephora because she doesn't understand it. She doesn't get the emotion. So watching you guys all play off each other without realizing that dagger feeds off anger, hate, tension, violent. It gets stronger. The shadow form that it possesses gets more corporal as it exists in those environments. But Gray is still battling with it. Gray is like, they will bow to them one way or the other. I love it. That was awesome. I love that stuff. I'm very selfish that way. I'm sorry.
It was good.
Yes, you can. We dance monkeys before you.
Whatever I do in game is in game, not personal. It's my character.
I feel attacked.
Okay.
I'm melty.
That was
I'm
awesome. I
melty.
loved it.
I like.
It's gonna blast me.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I know that it's not good form to shoot at your party mates. I hope, given the context of the scene, that it made sense and I didn't go too far.
Oh, I think it was great.
Hey, we've all had
Okay,
our
cool.
zero session. We all know what to expect of a dark world. It's always challenging. And,
Yeah.
you know, you guys were thrust together through need and necessity. You've gradually been trying to get to know each other. And, you know, with the death of Somni and the introduction of Zephora, and now with the utter collapse and, you know, fleeing of Espis and taking on this whole new route, I mean, it's death is just a cold hug, man. Just a cold hug.
I think the hero's
hot
mind
hug.
was.
I think it's
the
more of a hot
hero's
hug for me.
Yeah. I think to Harrow's perspective, he's been extraordinarily patient lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
But
impressed.
that's a different line for him than most people, though.
She's dealt. So Zephora's number one. She wants to see what makes people have feelings. That's one of the things she wants to do, and then kind of how far someone would go. And number two, she is has issues with Mistress Greenbottle dying, so she wants to feel pain. She doesn't have emotions, so how she copes with that is by having pain. So
In
that
there.
I got a lot of it right now. Almost too much. Luckily you rolled shitty for that dagger. I would have been done for. And she got to experience what it's like to be poisoned, even though she never could be poisoned. So that was very interesting to her.
Yeah, that experience was pure necrotic energy. That's why it was allowed to happen to you.
Right, of course, yeah.
Oh boy!
All right, y'all.
Wow.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Love y'all. Thanks for coming and hanging out. As always, down below are the links to our family, our co-creators, and everybody in this wonderful world. If you hung out with us and you came from the raids, thank you for hanging out, because I know you're most of you are either Midwest or East Coast time zone. But appreciate everybody coming out. And like I always say, please be safe. Try really hard to be kind. I know it's hard. The hardest thing of all, take some time to play a game. It's lots of fun. It's a great way to learn, teach, and get to know your friends, family, and strangers at the table. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
See you guys.
Bye.